Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about dividing fractions. Now when we work with dividing fractions, we're actually going to change these problems into problems that deal with multiplying, which then allows us to use our multiplication steps in order to solve these problems. A couple things that we have to do in order to get it to look like multiplying is the fact that we need to use something called the reciprocal. I will tell you what the reciprocal is in a few seconds. But we need to find the reciprocal of a fraction because then that will allow us to change it into multiplication. Let's take a look so you see what I mean. A reciprocal is where the product of two numbers equals 1. Okay, so we're multiplying two numbers and it gives us the product of 1. I have here 1/5 times 5 over 1. Now, if I ask the fraction of 1/5, the reciprocal of 1/5 is 5 over 1. Notice, it just flips. The numerator goes to the denominator goes to the numerator. Because this works, or when it's multiplied out, 1 times 5 is 5, 5 times 1 is 5. That gives you the answer of 1. So 5 first is the reciprocal of 1/5. We need to know that today because this is what's going to allow us to change these division problems into multiplication problems. Let's take a look at one. When dividing fractions, we can actually multiply by the reciprocal. Here's what I mean. If I have 2/3 divided by 5/6, I'm going to write down 2/3. I am going to change division into multiplication. And then I'm going to multiply by using the reciprocal of the fraction after the sign. In this case, it's 5/6, so the reciprocal would be 6 over 5. I just flipped it. Now I'm ready to answer this problem. I just multiply my numerators together like we did last time. 2 times 6 is 12. Multiply 3 times 5, that is 15. Now let's see if I can simplify it. In this case, I can simplify it. I can simplify it by 3, simplify by 3. I get an answer of 4/5. Done. Okay? So the process that we're doing today is changing this division to multiplication and then using the reciprocal of the second fraction. You will hear me say something like this. We can use this saying same, change, flip. A lot of kids like using this. They remember it. I'll start saying it and they'll be able to finish it. So I would strongly encourage that you think of this. And here's what I mean. What I mean when I say same, change, flip is this is how you rewrite the fraction. The same is the 3/4. Get this to work here. The same is the 3/4. The change is you change division to multiplication, and the flip is flipping the last fraction. So same, change, flip. That's how you'll hear me say it. A good way for kids to be able to remember it, you're set up with your fraction. Now you can multiply. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4. That simplifies down to, when I divide by 4 and divide by 4, that simplifies down to 6 over 1, or just 6. So the other thing that I want you to be thinking, like this little guy is over here, is same, change, flip. Notice another word for that flip is the reciprocal. Okay, you can choose any way you wish, but whatever works for you. Let's take a look at one more, except this time have mixed numbers. Remember, whenever you have mixed numbers with multiplying or dividing, you have to change to improper. So I take 6 times 5, that gives me 30. I add 5 to it. I now have 35/6. Okay? 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 1 makes 4/3. So I have 35/6 divided by 4/3. Now I'm ready to use the technique of same, change, flip. So same, this fraction here, change, division to multiplication, and then flip the last fraction, so I'm ready to go. Now, I'm going to cross simplify first. Remember I said you could do that. I'm going to take 3 and divide it by 3. That's going to give me 1. I'm going to take 6 and simplify that one by 3, and that gives me 2. Now I'm ready to multiply my fractions straight across. 35 times 1 is 35. 2 times 4 is 8. I have 35/8. I need to change this now back into a mixed number. Okay, how many times is 8 going to 35? 8 goes into 35 4 times, because 8 times 4 is 32. And then I take the 32 away from the 5. That leaves me with 3. My denominator never changes. My answer to this problem is 4 3/8. So, to reiterate, in order to divide fractions, number one, you have to make sure all mixed numbers are improper, like this last problem we had. Number two, you need to use the idea of same, change, flip. Same fraction at the beginning, change division to multiplication, and then you flip the last fraction by using the reciprocal. That is how we work with dividing fractions. Again, hopefully this helps you out a little bit. If you have any questions, make sure to ask.